do you want to work on this TMF project? It's Excel spreadsheets and all this, you're just filling out Excel spreadsheets and looking at documents. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that exactly means. But sure, I'll do it. Why not? What this project ended up being, and this is public knowledge, so I can say it. She's like, Sholeh, seriously, why are you not starting a TMF company? And I said, oh no, I don't want to start a TMF company. There's lots of competition. I don't want to do that. And she really planted the seed.
Welcome back to the TMF Daily Podcast, where we don't just talk about TMF, we build champions in the industry. Today is a big one, and I've got someone in the studio whose name carries serious weight in the TMF world. She's not just a subject matter expert, she's a trailblazer, a founder and a force who's been shaping the clinical research industry for over 20 years. She's worked across every therapeutic area you can think of, owned the complexities of global trials, and helped teams go from confusion to compliance with that laser precision. And here's where it gets even better. She didn't just lead teams, she built one of the most recognizable TMF consultancies in the world, LMK Clinical Research Consulting. She scaled it. She served countless clients. She raised the bar, and then she sold it. She exited that business like a boss, and now she's back on the front lines doing what she does best, advising, mentoring, and consulting as an independent clinical research powerhouse. TMF Elite, get on your feet and help me welcome the incredible, unstoppable Sholeh Ehdaivand. Sholeh, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nicole. Oh my gosh. When you were describing me, I'm like, who are you talking about?
You, girl. It was you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. That's incredible. Wow. Thank you very much. That means so much to me.
So let's just go back to the very beginning. Like, who was Sholeh before clinical research?
Oh my goodness. I was thinking, about when you were describing me, like, gosh, it's been quite a journey. And when I started my career, I didn't think I was going to be in clinical research. I wanted to be in healthcare, more on the healthcare side, more nursing homes, that sort of thing. And I started my journey in healthcare administration and decided that I didn't like it and it wasn't for me. I wanted something where I could really help people and feel more of an impact of what I was doing every single day. And I was introduced to clinical research by my sister. She worked at this amazing company called Cato Research. And gosh, I love Cato for so many reasons. Cato it's a small company, but with a very big name. I mean, if you say the name Cato Research, people generally know which company you're talking about. They're not just a CRO. They have built or helped build some of the most incredible careers in the industry. It's not just me, it's multiple people. We used to call it Cato University because they would hire people right out of college or people that had very little experience. And that was me. And they had different tracks. So I was a project coordinator and they had fellows, people that were just graduating with their PhDs, and they taught us, they grew us up. And so I started off as a project coordinator and learned everything. I mean, at the time it seemed really overwhelming, but pretty much everything about clinical research. We took classes, we had study groups, we worked with all kinds of different sponsors. I mean, it was just a really incredible experience. And so I really grew up there and learned so much. I met some of my best friends in the industry who I still keep in touch with today. From there, went on to GSK and Pfizer and now, landed in the TMF. So it's been an interesting journey for sure.
You said something that sort of resonated with me, and we don't really talk about it, I feel like, out loud in clinical research. And that's somebody who doesn't have that clinical research background. And so when you get that first job, you're not only learning clinical research, you're also learning your role at the same time.
Absolutely. Yes. That is, that's a really good point. It's interesting because there are so many different pieces to clinical research, and there's so many different people that contribute to the overall success of a clinical trial. And it's interesting because some people come in at different stages, and there's some people that are a constant. And at Cato Research, we had one person that was a constant that took the trial from beginning to end, the preclinical all the way through to post-marketing. And then we would come in different sections. And you're right. You had to know the overall picture of what was happening, but you did also have to know, what's my role in this? Because I only come in for this specific time point, and what am I supposed to do? And at that time, my role as a project coordinator was I wore many hats, which I loved that role for that particular reason, because I got to wear so many different hats and I could learn so many things. I learned how to collect TMF documents and learned all different TMF documents. And at the time, this was early 2000s, it was all paper. So we would have a cover sheet, a yellow cover sheet. Sometimes it was blue, depending on, the different, the different type of document it was. Looking at the document, seeing what it was, checking it off, putting them together, filing them, right? So that was one of my jobs. My other job was to take meeting minutes for my project manager. And, that it sounds like kind of administrative, and it doesn't sound like an important job, but it was really important. Meeting minutes are so important. Even we go back and we talk about TMF as a story of a clinical trial, the actual documents, those are the ones that really tell the story. And the meeting minutes, what happened? What were the decisions that were made? So I was responsible for that. And at first I thought, oh, I'm taking meeting minutes. Am I like an admin? Like, what is going on? But then I realized, to your point about your role, I realized, okay, this is a really important job and I have to take it seriously. And sometimes, depending on the meeting, those meeting minutes would go to the FDA. They would, become really important documents in decision making. So it was very, very important.
So what pulled you into the TMF? Like, where it brought you into that lane where you would just leave sort of that legacy? Like, at what moment you were like, this is it?
Yeah. It's funny because I'm laughing because of the way that it happened. So what happened was, I was in ClinOps, running a neuroscience study, and my study got canceled. It happens all the time, right? And my manager said, all right, your study got canceled. The next one's going to start in a few weeks. Do you want to work on this TMF project? It's Excel spreadsheets and all this, you're just filling out Excel spreadsheets and looking at documents. And I was like, okay, I don't know what that exactly means. But sure, I'll do it. Why not? I have a few weeks. So what this project ended up being, and this is public knowledge, so I can say it, I worked on Pfizer's huge remediation project. And I think that project was a learning lesson for every single pharmaceutical company in the world. Because what happened in that inspection that led to the remediation, I mean, it was a huge transformation for the entire company, but for our industry. That was a springboard into eTMFs, into inspection readiness, into taking the TMF seriously. And I got to be a part of that, which is incredible. So, and it was by accident, just because my study got canceled and I was in between, projects or whatever. So I worked on that and then never left. So when I started working on that remediation project, they were like, "Oh, Sholeh, we need you. We need your help. We needed someone like you," because what I brought was the ClinOps experience and the ClinOps hat and the project management experience and the TMF and this huge understanding of clinical research and why certain documents are important and why certain things have to be filed a certain way, and looking at the bigger picture, but also looking at all of the details, going back to the meeting minutes, like, why are those so important? Yes, they have to be filed. Yes, we need the meeting minutes for every 2 weeks that there was a meeting. If there wasn't a meeting, we need to explain why, and, all that kind of stuff. So that was really the defining moment, and the moment that I thought, oh my gosh, I really, really love this. And I'm going to make a career out of it. And that's what happened.
So when you first got pulled into that project with the TMF, was it love at first sight, or did it take a little bit to build momentum of like, okay, I think I'm going to really like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a ClinOps manager, as running clinical trials, the TMF was always, it was always important, especially because of my project coordinator background. So I always knew TMF is so important. I've been through enough inspections to know we need to get this right. So every time I worked with a CTA, we would partner and I would say, TMF, let's stay on top of it. We don't want to wait until the end. Let's make sure that everyone's filing on time, etc. So it was important to me. I enjoyed it, but I don't think that I loved it because there were so many other things about a clinical trial that I loved. But once I started working on the remediation project, that's when I said, okay, this is it. I love this. I love the problem solving aspect. I love the attention to detail. I love that we're fixing something. We have to get this right. There's so much on the line. I think that's really when I said, okay, this is it. I really love this.
At what point in your career did you realize, like, I can build something bigger than myself? Like, what was the spark that led to the creation of LMK Clinical Research Consulting?
Oof. The spark. Gosh, I'm thinking because there were so many. It was almost like an inferno. So I left my job at Pfizer, an ExecuPharm, and I went off on my own to be a independent consultant. I consulted a little bit with Pfizer, and I said, okay, I'm going to go off and start a company. And I was talking to my mentor, Marie-Christine Poisson-Carvajal, and she's like, okay, you're going to start a company. That's good. What are you going to do? And I said, oh, I think I really want to help doctors start clinical research practices. And she was like, oh, that's neat. That's interesting. Why do you want to do that? And I said, well, because I know a lot of doctors who are interested in clinical research. They just don't know how to start. And I know how to start. I can help them. She's like, Sholeh, seriously? Why are you not starting a TMF company? And I said, oh no, I don't want to start a TMF company. There's lots of competition. I don't want to do that. I don't even know if there's going to be enough work. I don't want to do that. She's like, Sholeh, you really need to think about this. You really need to consider starting a TMF company. And she really planted the seed that has been watered ever since that day that I'll never forget the conversation. We were in a Pfizer building, just leaving a meeting, and we were, walking down the hall, and she really planted the seed. So without her, and I tell her this all the time, Marie-Christine, thank you. because without her, there would be no LMK. I mean, she was really the one who said, okay, it's nice that you want to help doctors start their clinical research practices, but honestly, the TMF, you have a passion for the TMF. Why are you going off and doing something completely different? And I said, I just want to help people. I just want to, she said, you can help people with the TMF. And that's what I did.
Wow. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
funny how one person can just change your whole perspective.
It's so true. And she, like I said, I tell her every chance. She's retired now, and she likes to tell me that she's retired. She's enjoying her life as she should. I mean, it's well deserved for her. But I tell her all the time, Marie Christine, without that conversation, I would have been doing something completely different, So she really encouraged me, and really, like I said, she planted the seed that was like, okay, because I wasn't even thinking about TMF. I was thinking about the TMF, of course, because I'm always thinking about the TMF, but
right,
but not to start a business, not at all. So that was really, she did that for me. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the seed was planted, and now you have this idea of, okay, I'm going to start this TMF consulting business.
Yes.
Do you have a background like in business at all?
No.
No. Okay. So what's the next step? Like, you have the idea. Where do you go from there?
So I had the idea, and what I saw was that there was an opportunity with social media. And the opportunity I saw was, okay, why does everything have to be brick and mortar? Why does everything have to be paper-based? Why don't we use the free tools that are given to us, meaning LinkedIn, Facebook? We didn't use a lot of Instagram at the time, but why are we not using this? This is how we're going to reach people, because I knew, like, for myself, I'm always on social media. I'm always on, looking to see what people are doing and what's going on and this and that. And social media helped us build a brand. And I pulled in the right people. So when it, that's very important as a business owner. If you have a business and it's just going to be you, then you have to wear all these different hats. And it's possible. People do it all the time. If you are a business owner and you want to have a company and you want it to grow and all these things, you're going to have to hire people, and you have to hire people that are smarter than you. That's like key. And that's what I did. And so when it came to building the brand, I hired Isaiah Howard. And Isaiah, no, he's young.
He's been with you from the beginning?
Been with me from the beginning. He was my first employee.
Oh my heavens, I did not know that.
Yes. He was employee number 1. Yep.
Wow.
First employee. And he really thinks he's a very forward thinker. So he was the one who was like, yeah, social media, this is it. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to, have blogs. We're going to do webinars. We're going to do, and that is really how we got our name out there, is with the blogging. I'd never wrote a blog before. And he's like, you can write a blog. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't even know. Where do I start? And so what I did was, I was like, okay, most blogs are kind of boring, right? I mean, it depends on the content, but a TMF blog, like it can be dry, right? So I had to figure out, how do I make it interesting? I had to make it so that it's something that I would want to read. So I started to combine TMF with pop culture. And that's how I started to write my blog. So they were always based on something that was relatable outside of work, but then also had like a TMF component to it. So the blogs got popular, the webinars became popular. Then I started speaking at conferences, and that's really how we grew our brand. just kind of
Wow.
thinking outside the box. Yeah.
So building a company is like one thing.
Mhm.
Scaling it, that's another
Oh
thing.
my
Like,
gosh.
what was the biggest leadership lessons you learned while growing LMK?
Oh my gosh. Just one.
What you're willing to share.
What I'm willing to share. Yeah. I think that having a mentor is really important. And I had 3 mentors, and they became my board of directors, right? They weren't really LMK board of directors, but they were my personal board of directors. One, the late great Lori Halloran. She was my business mentor. Like, she helped me understand the clinical research world, helped me understand what are clients looking for, how do we meet their needs, because having a TMF company, as you know, Nicole, is tough, but having a TMF company without a technology is even tougher. So when we're approaching clients, it's like, okay, how can we can help you with your TMF? And they're like, okay, great. Where's your technology? We don't have one. Like, okay, well, how are you going to help us if you don't have a technology? We've got the people in the process. Really? I don't think I need that. So it's a hard sell. It really is. It's a very hard sell. So she helped me with that. And helping me to help clients answer their questions and solve their problems. That was our mission, right? Marie Christine, she is my mentor with everything because she was really the one who helped me launch LMK and gave me advice all along the way. Even the things that were tough to hear. And you need someone like that who is going to tell you it's everything is not, you can't see everything through rose colored glasses, right? You have to be able to look at the hard things and make changes. And that's really what she did. And then I had another mentor, Tom Grogan. Um, he was more my business mentor in terms of P&Ls and um cash flow and all that other kind of stuff, like hiring and do I have the right people and all that kind of stuff. And that group together really helped me with my success. But then in the background, I had another board of directors that was helping me because I also have 2 young children. And you know, Nicole, it's a balancing act to be a working parent, working mom, working parent in general, like working dads too. It is tough. It is really tough. I mean, it's like kids have to go to school. They need their lunch. They have practice, but you have a client call and, all these things. It's a challenge. So my mom helped me with my children because my husband works as well. And then my husband, oh my gosh, he helped me with everything else when it came to the business. Like anything that needed to be done, he jumped in there and he did it.
Aw.
And that I can't even, like, from interviewing people to helping respond to RFPs to working on balance sheets and cash flow statements and all the other things that need to happen in a business. It takes an army to have a successful business. That's what I had, just like pulling everybody in. Everyone help.
And this is so important. And I'm glad you brought it up because I think there's this mindset of people only need one mentor.
Oh my God.
And you can have multiple mentors for
Yes.
different things. They
Yes.
can't do it all.
You can't
Get
do
them
it.
in their specialty.
Yes, I agree. That is so important. That is a lesson that I learned early on. I actually went to this random business conference. It had nothing to do with the TMF. It was just about business and growing your business and stuff like that. And I heard the speaker say, and I am blanking on her name, but I heard her say, it's important to have a board of directors for your business? And she said, it's not the board of directors that you put out on your website and you pay them and all this. No, it's the board of directors that you can go to, like you said, for different things. And they each have their own specialty. That's exactly how I use them. And to everyone out there that has a business, have a board of directors for yourself, because they all, like you said, they all have their own specialty and they all bring a uniqueness to your business. And it's something that you need, and you can't do it on your own. You can't. It's impossible. I mean, I love when people say, oh, I did this on my own. I have no problem saying that I did not. I have no problem saying that I was not always the smartest person in the room. I had no problem. I was saying that 3 times, no problem asking for help, because you have to, it's really important. Very, very important. Ask for help and know the right people to go to for help.
So let's talk about failure.
Oh.
Was there a time something went wrong or like almost broke you that shaped the way you lead today?
Oh my gosh. There's so many. Oh gosh. If I had to think of one time, yes, so having a business requires a lot of infrastructure, and it requires, understanding what type of infrastructure do you need for your business. And when I was first starting out, I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have just a bunch of 1099 contractors. And because it's just easy, right? I don't have to worry about benefits. I don't have to worry about taxes, all this other stuff. Well, that's a good idea until it's really not, because there are lots and lots of rules that you have to follow for hiring contractors versus W-2s. I could write a book about that alone, because I learned so much about, 1099 versus W-2 contractors. Well, anyways, so what happened was everyone was a 1099 contractor, and the state of North Carolina said, okay, that's great. Prove to me that they are contractors. And I was treating them more like W-2s and not contractors. So it ended up in an audit, and my very first North Carolina Department of Revenue audit, first but not last. And you learn a lot from that. And after that, I was thinking, I can't do this. This is going to be too hard, because what North Carolina was telling me is that I had to convert all of these people to W-2s, which now means salary, which means benefits, which means now I'm completely responsible for these people. 360, yes, it is very expensive, 365 days a year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? And that was a journey in and of itself. Just figuring out, like, okay, converting everyone, and then having all of these W-2 employees on my payroll that have to be paid every 2 weeks without fail. It doesn't matter. That's a whole nother story that I could write a book on that too. When that happened, I was thinking, I can't do this. It's just not going to be possible. But I figured it out, long journey, pulled in my mentors, what do I do? How do I do this? Help me, please. And they did. And it ended up working out.
It always does in the end, doesn't it?
It does. It does. One way or another.
You scaled LMK into one of the most well-known TMF consultancies in the world.
Gosh.
What was that moment you knew it was time to let it go? And how'd you do it?
Gosh, that was tough. I think during COVID, when things started getting really scary, and scary meaning we didn't know what was going to happen with clinical trials. Everything was on hold. But we had to keep going somehow, because back to my previous point about having W-2s, everyone still needed to get paid, right? And so it was like, okay, how can I do this? How can I continue with everything, keep everything going in a completely different world, right? And everyone had to figure that out. I wasn't the only one. So a lot of us, going back to my mentors, I was in constant communication with them, but we were all in uncharted territory at that time. We didn't know what was going to happen from day to day. What a scary time. But I think at that time, that's when I thought, okay, I need to have an exit strategy, because if this gets worse and I don't have a company, I have to let everyone go. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. What's going to happen? What am I going to do? How am I going to, do I lay off almost 50 people? Like, that's not right.
Was there 50? Was there 50?
There was 50.
Oh my gosh.
So it was scary. It was very scary. And that, the 50 people that worked for me, they were more than my employees. I mean, to this day, I love them. I care about them. I could not just lay them off. That couldn't be the end of the story, right? So I had to think about, okay, what makes sense? How can I stabilize this company and make it so that these 50 people have a job? And for as long as they want it, everyone's not going to stay with you forever, but you want people to grow and move and things like that. But as long as they want to work for LMK, I want them to have a job. So how can I stabilize it? So I looked into lots and lots of different options, partnerships, VC, just a huge cash infusion, just lots and lots of different options. And it took me about a year to figure out that selling would be the right option. And it had to be sold to the right partner. Because lots of people approached me. Lots of companies approached and said, this is a great opportunity. Because what happens is when a company is successful like LMK and you win Inc. 5000 and all this, people start to notice you. We got noticed a lot. And it was at that time, it was, what's going to happen to the 50 people who work for me if I sell to you, and that was why I made the decision to go in the direction that I did, because the 50 people that trusted me for all these years, and some of them have been with me from the very beginning, they trusted me. I couldn't let them down. And so, what happens a lot of times when a company is acquired, the people are gone. It's like, oh, we don't need you anymore. Your position's been made redundant. It's happened to me before, plenty of times. And I couldn't let that happen. That was the defining aspect for me, is the people who work for me, making sure that they have a soft place to land.
Let's back up a little bit, because I didn't ask you, how did you come up with the name LMK?
LMK, it's named after my children, Layla, Marcus, Cornegay. Yep.
That makes perfect sense now. I love that. That's so special.
Yeah. I get that all the time. They're like, let me know. It is let me know, but it's also my children's initials. Yeah.
So now you're operating as an independent consultant.
Yes.
What feels different this time?
Oh my goodness. Everything feels different. I have so much more experience now from LMK and just being in the thick of it from that. And now I feel like I've started a business, I've run a business, and I've exited a business. So now I have so much information and so much knowledge, and I want to share it. I want to share it with everyone, whoever wants to listen, whoever wants to, whoever wants help. And I've been doing a lot of business consulting, which has been a lot of fun because I've gotten to know a lot of entrepreneurs. There are some very cool companies out there. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of fun for me. But then also I'm keeping my skills sharp with clinic. I've done a lot of ClinOps things, and so it's interesting now.
So how are you choosing like the work that kind of lights you up versus it's just sort of filling up the calendar?
So that's a good question because my time is limited, honestly, because I've been a little bit bombarded with the requests, which is nice. I like that. But also my first and most full-time job right now is I'm a caretaker for my 90-year-old father. So
What a blessing.
yes, it is. It really is. I'm honored to be able to do that for him. And so I uprooted my life and my family's life almost 3 years ago. We moved to Maryland to be closer to him. So we're in Maryland now, and I take care of him during the day. And then in between, that's when I get to do my consulting things. And so to answer your question, what lights my fire and what gets me excited is when other people are excited about what they have going on, then I'm like, okay, if you're excited, I'm excited. Let's do it. It's contagious. So I really haven't come across anything so far that I'm like, I don't really want to help you with that. So that's been fortunate for me because maybe I attract that type of person that, I'm excitable, so they're excited. So let's do this together. So that's been fun.
Yes, I'm a big firm believer in positive energy, just attracts positive energy and very relatable.
Yes, I can relate to you, Nicole, because you are very positive. By the way, I didn't say this earlier. I love your bow tie. Blue is
Thank you.
a great color for you. I love it.
Thanks. So when people talk about Sholeh Ehdaivand years from now, when your name's coming up in those boardrooms or the training programs, what do you hope people say?
I hope that they say that I helped them think about the TMF differently. And that's really all I wanted. You actually had a post a couple of weeks ago about the TMF. I'm not going to quote you verbatim because I can't, but you basically were saying that the TMF it's not an admin role. It's not just paper pushing. And that has been kind of my mission is that TMF, this is a profession. I created this daisy wheel a long time ago, and I put the TMF manager in that daisy because that's where the TMF belongs. It is not just the CTA is going to think about it, at some point during the clinical trial. Oh, we have to file this document that's been in my desk drawer, been in my computer in my downloads folder for 3 years or 2 months or whatever. It is the most important deliverable of a clinical trial. I mean, I've had people say, oh no, it's the CSR, it's this, it's that. I'm like, okay, this CSR is a component of the TMF. Let's not forget that. So it is, that's what I want people to think about when they think about me is that she made us think about the TMF in a different way. We're not just pushing papers. We're not just, oh, it's a document that I need to file. No, it is the most important deliverable of a clinical trial. When you go back and think about like, okay, what were the adverse events on this study? Or what were the decisions that were made? Or, when did so-and-so visit Dr. Smith's site or whatever? All of that information is in the TMF. And we have to recognize that it can't be an afterthought. It cannot be something that is, okay, well, I'll do that later. No, do it now. Think about it on the first day. Think about it on day 1, 2, 3, 4, until the trial is finished, right? And make sure that the documents are filed in a timely manner. They're correct. That it's something that, back to my GSK days, would be on the cover of a newspaper. That's what they used to always tell us. We had a training every year, the Right training. They would say, write your emails and everything that you do like it's on the cover of a newspaper. And that's how we have to think about the TMF. It's very important.
So at the end of the show, I always ask 2 questions. And the first one is, what is your favorite TMF document and why?
Oh my gosh, I have so many. And there's so many for so many different reasons. I mean, it's, I like the documents that point back to something and that can relate to other documents, right? Like connector documents, I call them. But I would say probably meeting minutes. I like meeting minutes. I like meeting minutes because there's a lot of valuable information in those meeting minutes, and you can understand what happened and what is happening with the trial from meeting minutes. And I know that they're kind of getting phased out. People aren't really, taking minutes, and they look kind of like meeting notes. They're more bulleted form, which is fine. They're becoming more of a RAID blog, which again is fine. But I think that information is so, so important. And I think the more that we can automate the RAID log and the meeting minutes, the better off we'll be. Actually, we need to automate as much as possible. I was just reading the Montreal report, the state of the TMF that they do every year. And it's amazing to me how so many companies are still using paper. It's just like, we're still in a hybrid world, and it's like we can't get out of it. It's like vortex. No, use the technology that is given to you. Don't be afraid of it. So that's a long answer to your question, but that's RAID block meeting minutes.
I love it. Nobody on the show has ever said meeting minutes. So
Really?
that's a breath of fresh air. Yeah. You surprised me. I would have guessed like protocol, TMF plan, what you would say.
Yeah.
So meeting minutes was a good one.
Of course, protocol, very important. That's the blueprint for the trial. But meeting minutes, because they keep going, right? And it's like what happened today is what happened today. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be different. 2 weeks, or however often we have our meetings. So it kind of gives a sense of what's happening at that moment in time, and it keeps changing, which is interesting to me. So, and maybe because I'm a little bit biased because my role as a PC, I had to write meeting minutes. So I think that they're pretty important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's why too.
What is the best career advice you've ever received, and who's it by?
Ooh, oh my gosh. The best career advice. Never give up. And I've had a lot of people tell me this throughout the years. And I think it's it's challenging because work can be frustrating. Maybe everyone isn't doing what you feel like they should be doing, or things aren't going the way that you want them to go. Or maybe, you've been laid off and you're like, oh my gosh, what's next? All that kind of stuff. But don't give up. It's, every day is a new day. Every day is met with challenges, but it's also met with a lot of successes. And back to what you were saying about positive energy. I'm a big positive energy person as well. And I like to draw from that. Like I tell my kids every day, I've never had a bad day ever in my life, ever. I've had bad things that have happened to me and things that have, like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this. Like I was talking about the audit from the North Carolina Department of Revenue. Like I've had so many days like that. So many. But I always find a way to figure out, okay, that didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, but what else is happening today that I can change things? Like I don't remember the Department of Revenue audit. I don't remember that full day, but I do remember that the audit occurred in the earlier in the day. And so I had the opportunity after that to make it the best day. Maybe I have my favorite meal. Maybe I, take a break from work for a while and play with my kids or whatever the case may be. Just don't give up. Life is hard. Work is hard. Just keep going. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Sholeh, I am so incredibly grateful you took time out of your day to just come and share your story and inspire so many people. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Nicole, for this platform. Thank you for having, a podcast where you bring on really amazing people and ask some questions. I'm like, oh, I had to think about that. It's really this has been really awesome. I love the work that you're doing in our space and love how you're helping to change the mindset of what the TMF is and what it isn't. So thank you. I really appreciate the way that you're trailblazing yourself. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been great.
To every single person listening right now, I hope you picked up on something powerful here. You don't have to be the loudest person in the room. You just have to be the one people can count on. And that's what Sholeh is. That's what greatness looks like in clinical research and in life. I just can't thank Sholeh enough for just showing up with so much heart, wisdom, humility. She's the real deal. And to our listeners, if this episode impacted you, share it, review it, and more importantly, act on it, because it's not about hearing great advice. It's about living it. This is Nicole Palmer. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.